Hello, today we're going to be analyzing PVR because PVR has taken a recent drop as of April 2023. The reason for the drop is some partners have sold PVR, so some I think FIIs who were holding PVR in their portfolio have sold it, and that is why there has been a never-ending drop in PVR from I think around 1650 levels to now 1500 levels, right? So I'm just going to check if PVR makes a buy at this price or not. So before that, we are going to analyze if the long format movies are still a part of current culture. So I have a case that they still are. People are still interested in watching at least 90-minute to I don't know 2.5 hour movies, and the recent success of Pathan and of other movies has shown that the movie industry will do fine provided that they make good content. So it's not that the long format is in itself any issue. The short format or the OTT format is competing with stuff like IPL and short format like Instagram and YouTube and everything, right? So there is a lot of short format consumption that has increased in the people. Like you are also seeing this video on YouTube. So among how to divide your time, people decide among these things, but once you have to go see someone with go see something with multiple people, you end up going to movies, and that is the most default thing that you can do. So I think the movie story still remains intact, and people still want to look at movies. And if you look at the numbers also suggest the same thing. So from the past 10 years, if you see, PVR revenues has increased by 14% annually. The PAT is currently trending negative because of COVID from the past 2 years. So we cannot make a PAT comparison for past 10 years. The operating margin in the past 10 years has improved by 6% annually. Admits have increased by 8% annually. Average ticket price has increased by 3% annually. Spend per head has increased by 10% annually. And the stock, because of all these good metrics, has done 18% annually in the last 10 years. So 18% annually is beating multiple active mutual fund schemes and multiple stocks in general as well. So you can see that there is a good trend of PVR, and the stock run up has been a story to tell. So there is some value to be added here. But you can say that in the past 10 years, Piyush, from 2012, if you see, there was no competition from OTT, right? So let's look at from 2016. So from 2016, I think we have Hotstar, Amazon Prime Video, and everybody in the market, in the OTT market, come in and crowd the market for movies, right? So what kind of impact has that had? So from 2016, the revenues have increased 12% annually. The PAT has increased 8% annually. The admissions have increased 8% annually. So you can see there is definite growth in the movie industry, and the aggressive nature of PVR's expansion has also helped them grow all of this in business. So there is nothing wrong in the business as such. And why I'm looking at PVR and Inox was that I started accumulating this in March 2020 when COVID hit. So that was the great time to accumulate. So I ended up holding a lot of PVR, and I'm analyzing if it makes sense to hold PVR today. So what are the headwinds of PVR as I see it? So the main headwinds is the debt. They had to raise some debt, and the management of debt at this point in a high inflation and high interest rate environment is something that needs to be uh, done very carefully. But I trust Mr. Ajay Bijli, and because the way they handled it in COVID, they were able to extend their leases, they were able to get more money in. So high inflationary environments is not a new thing for them, especially in India where the interest rates have been this high many times before it. So it's not nothing new. So debt is there. It has to be managed though. That is a huge headwind for them. You manage debt poorly, you're going down to zero for sure. The boycott Bollywood gang, yes, there is the new gang, the political Bollywood vendetta keeps on growing. So eventually, the boycott Bollywood gang will tire out, and Bollywood will start making movies where they don't reference Pakistan in a favorable light. So they will also understand that it makes sense to make money from movies and not not to endorse Pakistani TV. So eventually they will fix, and that boycott Bollywood gang will have nothing to boycott on, apart from some personal comments made by some actor. And the Indian consumption story might take a hit. So Indians, although the GDP is increasing, everything looks well. There is a consumption story hit that has taken, and this you can see across multiple consumer discretionary brands that I follow. So at least in the last quarter, we have taken a consumer discretionary hit for some reason, and that can also continue in the long term. You don't know if people end up saving more, or if they are spending in different things that are not movies or any other discretionary items that are getting priority. So such trends take a lot of time to show up where the money went. But yeah, there can be a consumer discretionary spend that might be a problem for this. But yeah, what are the good things? So the tailwinds are the merger that has happened with Inox is great. So there is a lot of synergy in PVR and Inox, and Inox had better operating margin than PVR. So the merger is actually going to help PVR's operating margins grow. The number of screens grow, revenues grow, everything will grow easily. And the great thing about the merger is now they are a monopoly kind of structure, right? So they can command better leases, they can command better advertising revenue, they can command better distribution pricing, right? So I think that synergy in that merger is excellent, and that's why I was holding this stock to see what kind of revenues and what kind of margins do we see after the merger. And it can take some time to assimilate and to come to a coherent number, but till then I think it makes sense to if you have it in your portfolio, to hold it. Another tailwind is a lot of mutual funds have invested in this stock in the past month when it hit 1500, when there was a lot of FI selling, a lot of DIs bought it. And the reason is the market is going to be flat this year. It's 5% down from January, and people think that if nothing, PVR might grow 5% up from 1500 levels, and for mutual funds this is fair game. So till next March, when they report their revenues and their profit numbers, mutual funds can hold stocks for like a year and then sell it off. So even for short term gains, I think mutual funds have gotten. I don't know if whoever has gotten, it's not disclosed yet. Do they have any long term ambitions with PVR, or do they have any long term connections? This is yet to be seen. And in conclusion, I'd like to say is, first of all, I'm not a SEBI registered advisor, and this is not investment advice. I'm just giving you a heads up into what I'm doing and why I decided to look into PVR. Is this the best stock to buy in the market right now? Absolutely not. There are a lot of better stocks to buy at better valuations and with better revenue visibility and profit growth. It just takes a lot of courage to hold those stocks right now, and I'm talking stocks about in the small cap world, because they have taken huge hit in the last 1 year, where the small cap index itself is 20% down, and you can have a lot of stocks in your portfolio which are like 40-50% down. So those are great places to buy because the revenues are definitely going to come. But if you are like me, someone who holds it, I am going to hold it. I wouldn't advise you to follow my advice or anything. Know your financial condition before getting advice on YouTube is what I would say. But yeah, I am going to wait, because I think the synergy, the positive can outweigh the negative. I still think that the odds are in my favor. And I don't know, I think even on the long term, what we are looking at is equities are under a lot of pressure, and there are only very a few names which can definitely have some amount of earning visibility, right? So if content remains good from Bollywood and Hollywood, and even if Bollywood content sucks for a while, Hollywood content is now going to pick up, and then Hollywood content is the major driver. So I think the occupancy numbers will start to come around 33% for PVR and Inox. We will start to see a lot of growth in the revenues and PAT as well. The other thing is, when you see that profits are getting recorded, you will see that the PE is going to be very high, and the reason for that is the Ind AS 116 accounting standard that has been followed. So because of that, depreciation is going to be reported in the income statement. So don't be alarmed. It's not that something weird has happened. It gets reported in both ways. It is an accounting metric. It gets reported in asset and depreciation both. So that is why the debt to equity ratio is also gone for a whack. But it's not as bad. It's not as bad as it looks if you go and look it on screener. But yeah, it's not one of those great ROE, ROCE stocks, a consistent compounder that you will. It is a consistent compounder, but it does not look like one. It is a monopoly, but it does not behave like one. There is a lot of risk in this stock, and trade at your own risk and be very cautious. Thank you.